speaking of funding, one of our members of the audience asked, will you name the top 3 contributors to your campaign and explain your connection to any legislation they want passed in their favor? Christine.
Well, actually, yeah, I think Mr. Olsen could probably answer that question for me. I think he's looked a little bit more at my campaign contribution records than I have. I have campaign contributions from a very broad variety of people and organizations in our state, and all of that information is available on the Public Disclosure Commission's website. It's all public record. I think over 400 contributors. Groups ranging from principals, teachers, and parents concerned about education. I'm a strong proponent of education reform. I have contributions from firefighters and fire chiefs. I have contributions from owners of restaurants, the Conservative Farm Bureau, and builders in this state, as well as from people that I represent directly in the 23rd. I'm proud of the support that I have. I'm proud of the work that I've done in this area.
Thank you, Christine. James?
Well, I agree with my opponent, but it would make us both wrong. The question was, name the top 3. Right here is the PDC. She saw that. She could have picked it up and told you who the top 3 were. Check it out. I help you. There's a YouTube video. It's a good one. It's called Ms. Rolfes, Follow the Money. Okay, as far as my top 3, I have had the salt of the earth step forward and help me. Top 3 was probably a nice businessman who helped me out. But what he was sweating was the fact that his name would appear on the PDCs and he'd be all over the liberal blogs getting hounded and ankle bit. Beyond that, I think the North Kitsap Women's League helped me out with a major one. All these are under $500. I know it's about me, but you can check out Rolfes, Ms. Rolfes here. 1,600, 1,600, 1,600, every pack, lawyer, most of them out of the district here. That is right, thumbs up.
Okay, so moving on to another question we received this morning. The question to you, James, is, according to the July U.S. News and World Report, 43 states fared worse than Washington from the nationwide recession. Many of those states are run by Republicans. Isn't it mostly just a campaign ploy to blame all our economic problems on Democrats?
I think the same person asked my question?
That's your question?
Okay, that's a great one. I think if the same person asked that question in a slight variant last time, no, it's not George Bush, stop it, that's ridiculous. The problems we have here are problems of our own creation. Yes, the economy has turned down. Yes, revenues have gone down in various areas. But the unfunded pension plan was done by our legislators. The job situation was done by our legislators. I mean, the bad climate that's been created. The press for an income tax, which my opponent supports wholeheartedly, and her party supports wholeheartedly, which will drive out incubation of companies, startup companies, they support that. That's what's causing the problems we have here. Stop it with this nonsense about misery loves company or George Bush caused it. Seriously, it's a problem of our own creation.
Christine.
I didn't hear anybody say George Bush caused it in that question, but you know, it's time to stop the partisan bickering. You know, there are plenty of fingers to be pointed around here at Republicans and Democrats, and probably at all of us. I guess that's all I'm going to say about that.
All right, very good. The next question is, doing the right thing isn't always easy. What decisions have you had to make for our community that were difficult and why, excluding running for office?
You know, this is a complicated question because the decisions over the last couple of years since we hit the recession. Almost every decision that we've made has been fairly difficult. You know, for me, the most difficult decision was overturning or voting to suspend, I would say, initiatives that were passed by the voters over the last 5 to 6 years in order to balance the budget. I know there are people in this room who are angry about the legislature and my vote to overturn the most recent Iman initiative. I know there are people in this room that are mad about suspending the initiative that required full funding for classroom size reduction and teacher salaries. There are people in this room that were mad about cutting our basic health plan, which was also passed by initiative. And that was, for me, is probably the most difficult decisions we've had to make, or how to balance all these competing interests.
Thank you. Thank you, Christine. Okay.
Once again, please.
Doing the right thing isn't always easy. What decisions have you had to make for our community that were difficult and why, excluding running for office?
Okay. I, like everybody, have feet of clay. I'm not perfect. I'm opinionated, I'm strong, reasonably intelligent, and I know how to talk. Okay, but to the question, you do have to stand up, and you do have to take a position. I hail from Bainbridge Island. I try not to admit that in Nick's company, because my wife says, don't talk about Bainbridge Island. However, I come from Bainbridge Island, and there's a certain group there that think they can control things. And a number of years ago, we stood up to a program at the school system, challenged the school board, and took a lot of heat from it, and took a lot of slander from it, and it was tough to do. I can handle it. I can take it. I have no problem standing up. I feel sorry for my poor family to have to put up with that. I don't regret it. Doing the right thing is not easy. When I go to Olympia, I will do the right thing, whether it's easy or not.
Thank you. So we're getting close to that time as quickly as the morning has flown by. So quick question here is, or maybe not, is pick a word that shows your philosophy of government. And conservative, spender, liberal, etc. James?
You saying a term?
Okay. Pick a word that shows your philosophy of government.
And do we get to elaborate beyond the word, or are you just looking for
You
the
have
word?
a minute to respond.
Okay. I would say that I am a compassionate, fiscal conservative who wants to see the core missions of the state done in a world-class fashion. I want to see, as far as those core missions, the state prosper. I want to see excellence in education. I want to see jobs created, real jobs, not just government jobs. I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm not embarrassed about it. I've taken heat, back to my previous ones, if I got a couple seconds. On Bainbridge Island, if you're a fiscal conservative, it's open season there. So I'm a fiscal conservative. I believe that. I'm compassionate. I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic. I'm a good guy.
Christine?
Since he used more than one word, I'll use 3. I'd say my philosophy is to be balanced, effective, and thoughtful.
Well, that was good. And with that, we're going to, we've got wrap-up time. So two things I want to remind, well, a few things to remind you. First of all, this is no host breakfast, so you need to pay for it. Otherwise, Phyllis will tackle you out in the parking lot, and she is fast. You saw her moving around these tables. So with that, I also remind you that next week here, we will continue Eggs and Issues. We have actually uncontested races, so we have a special, yes, a special. Is that right?
October 5th, October 12th. Yeah.
Yes, October 12th.
Not next
I'm sorry, yeah, next week we have off. So we have a break next week, and then the following week, October 12th, uncontested races where we have the assessor, sheriff, treasurer, clerk, and auditor. Okay? So, I'm sorry?
Basically county officials.
Yes.
That's correct. These are uncontested at this point. So with that, we have the opportunity to conclude. I will start with Christine as we began with James. Christine, you have 2 minutes for concluding remarks, please.
Well, thank you very much for the time and for the good questions. That was a lot of fun. And Joe, thank you for facilitating. I think your style and the lights have created a less dark and gloomy aura in the room. It's been a really enjoyable morning. These are really difficult times for a lot of people, probably for many of us in this room. And the problems that this state faces are serious. We're equipped to face them. We must balance the budget. We will continue to make difficult decisions in the legislature next year. For 4 years, I've worked very hard as a citizen legislator to represent this area, to listen to all voices and to bring your ideas down to Olympia, regardless of political party, regardless of where you live, regardless of whether or not we're friends or whether people like me. I've worked very hard to represent this area. What we need in Olympia right now are constructive people who are balanced and reasonable and who have a track record of working constructively with the members of our community. We don't need more people in Olympia who are part of partisan politics, who are rampant on the blogosphere, anonymously blogging, bullying, and belittling people who disagree with them. We need people who can respect differences and respect and tolerate those of us who are different or believe things differently than they do. I represent a thoughtful approach, a balanced approach, and a non-extreme approach to resolving and tackling the issues that are before us. And I hope that you will re-elect me to represent you next year.
Thank you. James.
Once again, I'm James Olsen, running for the 23rd Legislative District, position number 2, and I need your vote. And I am a person who has worked with people in the federal government, state government, agencies, foreign governments, the Pentagon. I've worked over budgets. I've received plenty of praise and awards for my performance. I can work with people. I can work in my community. I can work very well with the Knights of Columbus, St. Vincent de Paul Society. I've helped out the Veterans Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. But the key thing is, I am not a career politician. I haven't spent 6 years on the City Council in Bainbridge helping to lay the groundwork for their bankruptcy and gone on to Olympia and been a safe vote for not challenging things. I will challenge things. And I'll cross the aisle. I'll cross the aisle and work with any Democrat. Any Democrat. I'll work with the governor. If, in fact, we are going towards core principles of having a sustainable state economy. I can be as pleasant as anybody, but I can be cantankerous. And that's what we need. Pleasantry is nice, you know, and agreeing and finding consensus. What is needed is a rising tide raises all boats. The entire state of Washington needs to be helped out, not just the 23rd Legislative District. I will not forget the 23rd. This is my home. But all of Washington needs to be straightened out. I'm a builder, I'm a fighter, I'm a consensus builder, and I am not part of the Bainbridge elite. Thank you.
All right, thank you all. So round of applause.